I am making this comparison using these sizes because they're the ones I have available. They're two of the best full-array mini-LED TVs with local dimming that you can buy in the first few months of 2026. On one hand, the 65-inch TCL C8K, and on the other, the 55-inch HISENSE U7QG. Their performance in dark scenes is very good, very close to what you'd experience on an OLED television. But remember, very close isn't the same as equal, and between the two models, I want to highlight the following. Although the C8K has an incredible number of dimming zones, the HISENSE, despite being a slightly lower-end model with fewer dimming zones, does an incredibly good job. It is slightly better on the TCL, but on the HISENSE, as I said, it is very, very good, with a very good balance between black levels and detail. The best course of action, obviously, is to always keep local dimming on high. The amount of light haloing or blooming effect in both models is truly minimal, practically imperceptible in most cases. They perform very well in terms of brightness and color. Here, I'll first show you standard dynamic range content. Both models have these parameters to try to improve contrast, color enhancement, and detail levels, making SDR content appear as if it has high dynamic range characteristics. Now, when the content has high dynamic range, in this case HDR10 technology, both models have these parameters that attempt to improve those aforementioned HDR characteristics: contrast, brightness, detail levels, and color enhancement. The results are very good. The only difference is that the brightness difference will always favor the TCL. But the HISENSE, from my point of view, has very good brightness, more than enough. And it is also true that the 65-inch U7QG probably has slightly more brightness compared to its 55-inch version. You should also know that the TCL C8K isn't available in a 55-inch size. I know many will say, Andy, this is an unfair comparison because they're not in the same price range. I know, but on my channel I've always been known for not doing fair comparisons, per se, but rather comparing what people ask me to compare or what I simply want to compare. I like to see the differences side by side between a higher-end television, even if it is larger, and a lower-end television that is still incredibly good, even if it is smaller, so you can also perceive those differences or similarities that might exist. Speaking of colors, both have these parameters that allow them to intensify the results by saturating them a bit more. And as for the color saturation capacity of both models, it is really high. Both have quantum dot color technology. Obviously, I am not telling you to increase this parameter to the maximum capacity. I just wanted to show you what both models are capable of in this area, as I usually do. By the way, both are compatible with Dolby Vision high dynamic range technology, including Dolby Vision and Dolby IQ picture modes. The results are very good. But I keep saying it, Dolby Vision is just a fancy name to me, even though many criticize me for saying so. And overall, the performance of both is very good. The main difference still lies in the brightness of the C8K. Gray color uniformity is good in both models, being slightly better in the TCL. But the dirty screen effect in the HISENSE is also very slight. And when watching content with a lot of color, I don't find the dirty screen effect annoying or distracting in either of these TVs. Motion handling in both models is really very good. It is slightly better in the TCL when dynamic acceleration is enabled. The difference isn't huge, but it is there. In both, you can manually reduce the judder if needed. However, on the TCL, it is generally recommended to set this parameter to high and enable dynamic acceleration, while on the HISENSE, set this motion enhancement parameter to smooth. This will give you much better results in terms of perceiving almost no judder and very minimal artifacts. For gaming enthusiasts, both models feature game bars with distinct functions. The TCL game bar offers 3 customizable design options, each themed around one of the 3 most popular current video game consoles. Both models allow you to add an on-screen crosshair, change its shape, and even customize its color. While some users may find these options useful, the most valuable aspect of these game bars is likely their image modes. The TCL offers 3 modes, perhaps sufficient for many, while the HISENSE provides 5. Both models support 120Hz refresh rates in 4K on 2 of their HDMI 2.1 ports for console gaming. For PC gaming, they support up to 144Hz in 4K, and the TCL up to 288Hz in 1080p, both with support for variable refresh rate technologies. Overall, the results are truly excellent. I personally didn't notice any ghosting on either of these models, not even with games that have a lot of darkness and fast movements. In games with a lot of color, the results are also very good. Personally, I think both models are the same in terms of motion handling. The difference here lies in what I've already shown you. The TCL has more brightness. But as I've said, from my point of view, The HISENSE's brightness, even though it is smaller and from a lower price range, is very good, sufficient for a well-lit room. These are their remote controls. Personally, I don't particularly like either of them, but they're not bad. I must say that the TCL's is more appealing, both in terms of design and color, and because it has backlit keys that illuminate when pressed or when you lift or move the remote, while the HISENSE doesn't have this feature. Speaking of hardware, both the TCL and the HISENSE have 5 GB of RAM. The storage space is almost double that of the TCL. They share the same architecture, number of cores with the same clock speed, and the same GPU. The operating system is the same Android with the Google Television interface for both models. They offer very smooth performance when browsing, opening apps, or fast-forwarding or rewinding videos. The App Store is the Google Play Store. In both cases, you can install APK files if needed. Both also have shortcut menus, which are really useful. You can choose to modify the location of these icons if needed, and in both cases, you can add or remove shortcuts from this wide variety. All TCL TVs also have another menu for shortcuts to inputs and applications, which I find really useful. Furthermore, from this menu, you can access the multifunction feature while the HISENSE doesn't support it. Both models are compatible with voice assistants, in this case by pressing the Google Assistant button on the remote or using the hands-free function. Regarding the speaker system, the TCL will obviously be more powerful, but this can vary depending on the screen size. Even though the HISENSE is smaller, the sound system's power and clarity are also very good. So, to conclude, if the HISENSE is the only option you can afford, whether the 55-inch or 65-inch model, go for it. It is an excellent choice overall. And although it has less brightness, I think it is sufficient, and its performance in dark scenes is very good. But if you can go for the TCL, I'd say the main difference is in the brightness. It has more dimming zones, but the difference in dark scenes isn't that significant. Please let me know what you think about these two models in the comments. As a reminder, if you'd like to support my channel, I'd really appreciate it if you became a member through my Patreon page. You can also make purchases through the referral links I've included in the description and pinned comment. That would help me a lot to keep creating content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.